Hi everyone, so in this video I wanted to show you the Vintage LoFi FX Rack that I've been making. All this rack is using stock plugins from Ableton Live, so you'll need the standard or the suite version in order to make this function. So what I've got here, it's divided up into 4. It's divided up into 4 sections. So we've got an EQ section, which is the white, the sampler section, which recreates or emulates like classic samplers using the redux, and I've added like a noise circuit to give it extra noise, a vinyl crackle with vinyl ducking, along with the vinyl revolutions per minute. And then last but not least is the compressor circuit with the attack and release and the gain limiter. So first up, we'll look at the EQ. So what the EQ does is it recreates the classic, some of the classic EQs and the EQ curves to try and get the same shape as what the EQ curves do with the best that I can with EQ8. To get that, what I've done is I've put an EQ before all these effects and an EQ after these effects. So if you wanted to take 20 Hz out before you go to these effects, then you just send it to a value which is below, I think, 63. So 0 is off, up to 63 is pre, and after 63 is post. And that goes for all these. So if I wanted to take out, let's just play something and I'll show you the high pass and the low pass filters. So the ones on the top are the high pass filters, the ones on the bottom are the low pass. So if I just I'll just play stuff and then you can hear. So as you can hear, I've used high pass filters using classic EQ curves from different sources, and that is the EQ really. You can have it pre or post effects. So we'll look at the effects now. So moving on to the sampler device section. So the sampler device section recreates 3 different samplers. So you'll go from clean over to not so clean. So these values is 0 is off, 1 to 42 is the ASR10, which is 30 kilohertz 16-bit, 43 to 86 is the SP1200, and that goes at 26.04 kilohertz 12-bit, and then 87, the value of 87 up to 127 is the emulator, and that is 27 kilohertz at 8-bit. So if I just go through these now as I'm playing some. So you can hear just subtle differences within the sound, but that is just to emulate the samplers of the classic era. If we go on to, let's just go on to the unclean one, we can also add some circuit noise into there. Just to add some grit and some texture. And then if we found if that were a bit too much, we could then use an EQ after this effect section to take that off. I'll see what it's like pre. And that way it just smooths out that top end after adding these artifacts and stuff in there, like for example this one. If we before and after that, and if we look at this loudness meter, so before we're peaking at, well, integrated short term, but integrated is 12.3 short term, and then with it on, you're more or less looking at the same sort of value, but just with that extra flavour, that extra texture within your drum samples. So that is the sampler section. Moving on to the vinyl crackle and the vinyl ducking, along with the speed or the wobble of the motor speed. So the vinyl crackle, you can't hear anything, because what I've done with this is when audio comes in, that is when the crackle will start playing, and then the ducking is basically just a sidechain compressor that monitors the incoming signal. So if I just do this, you can hear it now. But then if we want it to duck with the incoming signal, you can hear the vinyl crackle slowly fades away once we stop playing. So you're not getting that crackle all the time, and that way it's just a good way to add just a bit more flavour to your drum samples or whatever it is that you're trying to do. The vinyl RPM is basically a wobble that gives variation in pitch. So I went for 33 RPM because that's the most subtle of them all. If I went for 78, I think it's just a bit too much, but the 0 is off, and all the way to 127 is how strong you want the effect to be. So if we just listen to this now, you can hear just there, it's just subtle. If you listen to the cymbal compared to it off, and then if we push it all the way, you're getting a broken vinyl player. So that's the vinyl section, along with the ducking and the vinyl crackle. The compression section is basically, on the compression macro, we have the threshold and ratio. So 0 would be off. There's a bit of a glitch with Ableton where either 1, it should be on at 1, but it's either 1 or 2. So you might just have to push it that bit more. But that activates this attack and the gain as well. So you have to have this compressor on in order for these two to work, for this section to work basically. So the compressor, what I have done is I have set the threshold from 0 to -40, and as you push it up, the ratio goes from 2 to 8. So if we just hear that now, and this has got automatic makeup gain as well on, so you can hear that it's really boomy. So you can even take it out before the compressor. Moving on to the attack and release. The attack and release goes from really quick, which is the attack is set to 1.5 milliseconds, the release is 30 milliseconds, and all the way to the right, the attack is 70 milliseconds and the release is 375 milliseconds. So if you're wanting something that's more leveled out, you'll go for the slow times. If you're wanting something that's really quick and pumpy and airy, go for the quicker times. Can really hear the room with that. Whereas slow times, it just levels it out that bit more. Then moving on to the gain limiter. This is the final thing in the chain, which allows us to either reduce the signal by 6 dB or push it that bit more by 3 dB. So yeah. The output will always be limited to minus 0.1 dB. And with that, that is the Vintage LoFi FX Rack. You can get some really nice textures out of this no matter what you put on it. You could have it for drums, synths, basses if you wanted, anything really. Just tweak the knobs to what sounds good. So I'll run through these presets now just to show you what you can do with the device. I'm hoping to get more presets done, but ideally you can just press randomize and see what you get. Not that I do that, I do it by ear. So I'll just run through these presets and yeah, I will see you in the next one.